Bud, we had a false start again. Coronzon is at us. I was like, Callie was next. No, Baron Samley was next. And then Callie in the Epoch study group. And I went, yeah, I'm not going near Callie. Not at all. Not the right time.
You didn't like Callie? I loved Callie. Callie was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's just not the goddess of destruction. No, not at the minute when everything's falling apart around me. I don't need any more of that. Thanks very much. So I said, I just said hello, made some offerings and goes, I'll talk to you again. I have done some stuff with Callie previous. But,
it's more than destruction though, isn't it? It's kind of like she's the... I can't really explain it that well. She's the killer and the creator. Yeah.
Well, she's the killer aspect. The creator aspect would be Shiva. That's so that's the duality of the two of them. She's the terrible mother.
Okay.
So.
But I thought. So I must have misread the Epoch thing then, because I thought she was.
Oh no! It could be in that, because I didn't read it, so I can't say what the Epoch version of it is. But technically, as well, open to be corrected on it. My kind of thing of it is Callie is the destroyer, like, because her name is Callie, the destroyer. So that it's, but not in a kind of a spiteful or a vindictive way. It's in sometimes things have to be removed for the new thing to exist.
Yeah. So it's like the tower in the tarot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not always a bad card. Usually
it's a great card if you're trying to get out of a system, or you're trying to get out of something, or you want something if you're part of the resistance. Unless, well, I suppose it could denote that the resistance coming in. Anyway, I've said no. I'll just leave. I'll leave you for the minute, Kalima. I'll not sacrifice the heart.
I just got the monk there in my. I love doing. Who made the bot? So Grayson made the bot on your Discord, wasn't it? Yeah. So there's a 40 servants bot on Discord, which I don't understand. You just type in plus 40s plus XYZ plus carry the 4 and
go
then
to
there's
10
7 numerators.
Print hello 20 go to 10.
There's this page on Tommy's Discord, which I don't even understand what Discord is. It's kind of like Reddit, but it's not. And so there's a thing for bots, and you put in this little code and it gives you your 40 servant card, and it's good fun. I don't do the tarot one because I don't like that deck, the Raider, the one that WB8 was involved in.
Pamela Coleman Smith.
Yeah,
bananas.
I have one of them, but I just never really. Crowley's one. Yeah, Crowley's one's great. I like that one. You don't like that one. You say that's miserable. I've never found that. No,
I do like it. I just it'll give you the harshest kind of slanted things. Like it won't kind of go. It's like do I need to stop? You need to fucking stop it. Yes, it would be. Well, maybe you should try and think about it in a different way. It's just no. Stop that shit. Stop messing. Do the work. Shut up.
Yeah. So
and just sometimes I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. See, it's funny how me and you are so similar in so many ways, but quite opposite. Like I need the harsh treatment like that.
Sometimes. I do too, yeah, but it's only sometimes. That it's not a constant thing. So that's why,
nobody needs to be barked at all the time. You know?
Some people seem, some people do.
But it's funny. Like yesterday, I was like, "Oh shit, can we move the time?" kind of thing, and you were like, "Yeah, whatever," and or move to tomorrow. And you were like, "Yeah, grand, yeah." And then I came back because the thing was cancelled. Like, Tommy, yeah, we can do it. And oh, today's all organised.
Oh yeah.
We can watch. Yeah, that can't happen. And I'm like, wow. I wonder, does Tommy know what he's going to have for dinner this evening? I bet you do know. Do you know what you're going to have for dinner
sometimes,
this evening?
Yeah, but I won't know. I don't, like... So dinner-wise, I'll always do more than 24 hours, but I'll have an idea of what I want for dinner. But I don't do a weekly shopping. Like, and Fressa was always trying to get, like, all right, we'll do this on Tuesday, we do this. And I was going, no, I might want that on Tuesday.
No, that's too. That's like, The Simpsons, they have like a pork chop night and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, not even that, but she would like try to, she'd want to plan it a week ahead, but not like stew on a Wednesday, every Wednesday, but like have the whole week planned. I go, no, I'm not into that.
My ma used to do that. Used to drive us fucking bananas. Like, we'd have the same dinner every day of the week. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So
no, we never really did that. What actually I meant by organised is that I had, because we weren't doing the thing that I said, because my wee man is sick, that we had it organised who's going to look after him and all that, and I had already changed it and go, well, I'm not changing it again.
Fuck you, Spud. Well, you were dead right. But just I'm fucking useless, you know what I mean? I haven't a clue what I'm going to do in half an hour's time, kind of stuff, which isn't good, but it's the way I am. I got the monk, so I like the monk. I got him there this morning, I like getting the cars. Like it's a funny one. It's like if I'm doing the cars myself, I'd put far more weight on it than just an algorithm on the internet. But it's the same thing. Anything.
It is, and it's funny because it's when Grayson was setting up, there was an awful lot of inverted cars or reversals on the Pixie one, which is the Taro one, and they had to go back in and change it because sometimes actual randomness can appear not to be random. So it was totally random, but you said, well, can you do less of the random? And it's the same thing that I think Apple had to do when you put your iTunes library on random. Loads of people were reporting getting the same songs directly after. Like the same, repeat it. And so this isn't random, this is the thing. And it goes, no, it's literally if you play a song, that song is then included in the next random selection and is as likely to be selected as any other song.
Yeah.
It just seems unlikely to us because that would be more. Well, it must be more unlikely to have the same song twice, but obviously not statistically. I don't know. It's like the way to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is as likely to come out in the lottery as any numbers. But it seems more unlikely to us.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's like if you pull a tarot card, you've won in 72, and then the next time you put it back in, shuffle it, you still have a 1 in 72 of getting the same one. Like, but it blows our minds that can happen, kind of stuff.
So is it?
It should be like, we think it should be 72 multiplied by 72, but you haven't added a new card to the deck you've just had. It's a new deck because it's a new shuffle, so it's still 1 in 72.
Yeah, just that my brain doesn't like that, but it's been explained to me, and
look,
like
probabilities are hard, and I've had to learn the hard way because of the job, like with the betting. Yeah. Like it's really hard to explain to people, like just because Man United won like the last 7 games in a row,
means nothing.
Doesn't mean they're going to win tomorrow. It just doesn't, like.
Yeah.
But and no, it's like, and then the simple example is like toss coin. Is the head or tails? Heads. Okay. Now the next one, is it going to be head or tails based on that? Well, no. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But out of 100 coin tosses, you are more likely to get 50-50, aren't you?
Yeah, it should. It will.
But are you as likely to get 100 though?
I know.
Because well, why? Because every time you flip a coin, you have the same chance of getting heads.
50% chance. Yeah. And that's where the bookies make their money as well. To start, like, instead of giving you because a 50-50 chance is 2 to 1 in betting, or odds of 2. So you bet 1, you get the 1 back.
Right. Yeah.
Plus your winnings of 1 as well. Yeah. So, but what the bookies do, they'll say, well, I'm not going to give you odds of 2. I'll give you odds of 1.8, and then they take 20% from both sides. So regardless of who wins, they get their cut, and people. That's really hard for people to figure out when it comes to gambling, because they think that the bookie gives back half to the people who won. It's like, that's not how it works at all. Like, they actually take it like 6, 8, 10% of every single bet that is made. It's crazy how much money they make. That's why there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of sports.
I was reading Synchronicity by Carl Jung, and he has this whole section where he looks into astrology, and he goes, right, I'm going to actually test it out. So he gets a load of people, 200 people who are married and considered good marriages, or whatever, and then looks at what parts of their signs should relate to that, and then he looks at that and sees if there's any crossover. Or more married people have the sun in planet banana, whatever it is. I assume it's Venus or something. And then he switches them all up, the same 200 people, and pairs them with someone else's wife or husband, and sees how likely it is that the same thing.
He had a history of that, didn't he?
But anyway, my problem was that it's just he started getting into figures, and I was just going, he'd be saying one thing, and I was going, okay, and then he says, but this means, and I'm going, I don't see that, I don't understand it. So you're just kind of reading along, going, okay, I believe you. Fair enough.
Just gonna have to trust you here, Carl. Yeah, because you were telling me, because I'm at the point, I bought that Book of Job, I got the Aeon book and Man and His Symbols, and I've only started Book of Job. You said read that first because it's short.
Yeah, answer to Job.
Answer to Job. What did I call it? Book of Job.
Book of Job
is the
actual book
from the Bible. Yeah. And so I'm about 10 pages into it, and I'm going, I have no fucking idea what happens in the Book of Job. So I went off, had to look up a lot of videos about that. There's one really good YouTube channel, I think it's called Wisdom of the Bible or something like that, and they do these really good animated videos, retellings of the Bible stories from a very Bible bias, I have to say.
Of course.
But it's still very good.
Yeah.
And so then, so I came back with understanding what the Book of Job was about, and then I read this, and I was going, right, sure, I'll fly through this. It's 150, 60 pages or something. No. Because, like, no, it's easily understandable.
Yeah, it is.
It's the kind of thing where, like, you know, say when you're reading fiction or whatever, you go through 30, 40, 50 pages and, like, easy, because it's just fodder. But you're reading this Carl Jung thing, and, like, at the end of a chapter, you're like, what? Whew, I need a day. I need a day to think about this.
All right, I kind of go, no, what did he just say to try and get it in my head? Now, don't just kind of go, on to next time. Now, think about it. Have a think about it.
Because it's like, because when I got it, I thought, okay, like this is only about the Book of Job. This is all it's about. But it's not all. Like, he's connecting bits left, right, and centre, all about how...
It's how the Book of Job... is the creation of God, in a sense, or the evolution of God, and
the evolution of God,
and what that means for us.
What it means for why it had to happen in the way everything happened after the Book of Job, and even like the bit I'm on now is like how the Book of Revelations came about and why it was like, basically he's like, your man that wrote this was messed up. He was really messed up, you know. Because like he wrote the Book of John and he was fine, but then like something
perhaps took a load of mushrooms. Perhaps
no. He says something like a life of living the Christian life of piety and humbleness, and he added, and all these good things have obviously had a massive effect on his shadow, and this is how it's coming out. So it's basically like he was being too good in real life that the devils had to come out in his visions and all.
Yeah, because they will come out. Yeah, that's it. That's a good one.
It's great. It's a brilliant book, but like,
it is.
I thought like, 150 pages grand. I'll have this in a couple of days. And no. It's like you just fucking need to think about this. What? Yeah. So that's why God was an arsehole, and he isn't anymore. Yeah. Well,
obviously less of fun. Yeah, and it's
fun.
Essentially, it's Tim Freak. His kind of revelation that he had after he wrote 32 books, and then went, hold on, I might have been wrong, and wrote 3 more books. He sees it's the same kind of thing of that it's us, and I kind of like the answer, but it's kind of why it's the answer to why there's say suffering in the world, is that it's God, us as God experiencing itself. He started with it's the evolution of God, and we're trying to work out how to do this without but it's involving in a sense, going through the suffering so that you don't do it anymore. You're learning, you're transcending it, and so that it's the evolution of God is coming along with our evolution. But it's like Bernardo Kastrup goes, you're essentially a materialist with a few extra frills. And he goes, no, I'm not. That's not. I'm not what I'm saying. It's just because there's like even Patrick Harper he's not a fan of the old evolutionary theory. He kind of mentions it kind of briefly in the Daimonic Reality, but he goes all out in his other books. He's just like, nope.
Oh, really? Yeah. What does he think? What does he think happened?
Well, I think it's hard to know because it seems to be more about kind of like he never says scientists or he never says science. He always says scientism. Always. There's never a time when he doesn't. So there it's an awful lot of it's just kind of dismissing it or arguing against it rather than well he says it's like it's a demonic reality, it's a spiritual reality, and this is how things are coming in and that they change, but like there's still an evolution in that in the sense of that if he's saying that what were once fairies are now UFOs and BVM or Blessed Virgin Mary sightings or whatever, like that seems an evolutionary type thing, but I don't know, it's I like the idea that kind of thing of that God evolving, but along with us, and that he starts from being, and the only way he can experience is by having been by the they've seen the reflection, because you can't have a thing.
Because first he was a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he had little hands, and and he wasn't. What's that thing? If you're ever feeling sad, try and imagine how a Tyrannosaurus Rex changes his duvet. Can't do it, little hands. And that was God, and God was like, no, let's throw a rock at these motherfuckers, and that was the end of the dinosaurs. The
poor big guys.
I don't know. But I said this to you 100 times before, but that's the thing that always fights in my head against all this God and spirituality is that, like, what about the millions of consciousnesses before humans and monkeys and mammals?
But like if God, but like that's. I have no problem with crossing evolution and spirituality at all, because I kind of came, I suppose, originally from a kind of a theosophical or New Age thing where it was you evolved as a spiritual being to become the thing. So there was that sense of evolution was a constant kind of thing. So why wouldn't that be an over, a macrocosm of the microcosm? If the man
you think that we've been reincarnating ever since the first cells and
no, not us. Whatever it is that existence has been doing that. I don't think I've been personally. I have no idea. But I think when I die, that's Tommy over, and that's it. I don't
know. I mean, you could be like a John Dory.
A fish?
Yeah. I love that name. It's a great name for a fish. Yeah. It's so bizarre. This gorgeous flat fish is called John Dory.
Yeah.
It's like your neighbour. How are you, John?
He's the newspaper reporter of the deep sea. He's probably not even deep sea. So I think so the evolution of I can understand how that would. A spirit into matter would evolve that way. I don't have a problem with that. I know people do. They don't see it because they center humanity as either the thing that existed from the beginning, which is how it doesn't. We have we even know it didn't. Well, unless you're a creationist, and then you do believe that. So I can see. But the problem then, I suppose, is then that you're still coming from a point of view of that. So that kind of goes against your kind of, I suppose, your psychology stuff and your therapy stuff, and that you're constantly in a state of thinking there's something wrong with you, and that you have to move towards perfection, and that's not good either, But I think if you can strive to be better or to improve in the areas you want, rather than feeling that there's a fundamental flaw in you, which is what actually is the religious kind of thing of, is that there's a flaw, there's the original sin, there's something wrong that you did or that you have to fix or return to. Bernardo Kastrup, I think it's a Jungian perspective, but I haven't come across it myself. He talks about the fall at the end of that book, his Carl Jung book, and it's the most satisfying kind of explanation of the fall of man that I've come across, in that the fall is a representation of when the brain was first able to self-reflect, and so then became aware of all the things. So it became aware of being naked. It became aware, rather than just living in the absolute present, the way animals do. They're not worried about dinner next week. They're not, contemplating future events, their debt. It was this kind of thing that only humans seem to be able to do, is self-reflect, but be able to report on it, to be able to understand it in the way that you know you're anxious, and you can explain you're anxious, and you can muddle it out. And he says, so that's what the representation of the fall is. By doing this, you will become like us. You'll become the gods. You'll be able to self-reflect, yourself thing, done by someone who was the first to fall. So the instigator being the devil or the snake or whatever it is, the reptilian energy. He was he got this and goes, this is going to fuck you up, but it's better for you in the long run. Because because what you are now isn't. So that's the fall. Is from a perfect state of nothing, or not of being in present. You're eating an apple, you're one with the apple. You're just part of creation, to being reflective. And I go, yes, that makes sense to me. Because I had never really understood the, oh, you fucked up, or you did something wrong, or that kind of creation thing. Because I mean, if God created the Garden of Eden, He created them. He says, don't eat that fruit, and you go, yeah, I mean, I think he might have known.
Yeah.
But Kastrup, and I suppose Jung would say that he mightn't have known, because at that stage he wouldn't have been omnipresent or omniscient or any of these things, because he was, he was an evolving, and he had to, through us, learn all those things.
Yeah. It's a nice theory. Yeah. But that's it. You can't. It can explain things, and it's a helpful. Yeah. I'm not so convinced by it.
Yeah, way to look at the world or whatever. But I don't even. Jung is kind of approaching it in the book, even though he's ostensibly writing it as if it's, this is what happened. He's kind of going, this is how humans' psychology or humans' idea of God changed because of this.
Yeah.
Too. He's writing on that level as well, and that's just as important to someone like Jung, who thinks, it's all kind of, in a sense, archetype psyche, whatever.
it's interesting as well how he just goes like, Job is the one, or the book of Job revealed that, God was having trouble with himself because he got annoyed with himself and let all these bad things happen, and then like fell for Satan's trick of messing up Job, but getting everything back to him eventually. And then
when he got caught, Job questions him, going, "How dare you question me, you prick!"
And then there was Enoch was after that, and then Enoch done some amazing stuff, but then it set it up for that, like, okay, well, God actually had to materialize and come down and show how it's done, kind of thing. And like when you look at it in the scope of time, it's like, well, it's only 2,000 years ago. And there's probably 2,000 years between what Job done and, well, there's 2,000 between Moses, isn't there? Moses and Jesus, and then Jesus.
Well, it's the Christian thing is 6,000 years, isn't it, altogether? So it's when,
I think Moses was, I think he's 2,000 before. Anyway, whatever. And it's nothing really in the life. I wonder, like, do you know the way that, maybe, I don't know, does anyone know the answer to this? Has there been any other false, because the Jews are still waiting on, am I allowed to say the Jews? Am I going in trouble for the Jewish people?
No, it's like saying the Catholics. I mean, I think it's appropriate.
So the Jewish people.
But I have the same thing because it feels wrong, doesn't it, saying the Jews? It's like, it feels like you're saying the chink or something, you know what I mean? Like that, it's like something.
Is that our shadow showing? I live in Poland. This was a very hospitable country to the Jews until after World War II, when they didn't let them back in, but let's say nothing about that. And has there been, like, because they were waiting for Jesus, this fellow was foretold, and they go, don't think it's him.
Yeah.
Has there been anyone since then?
Yeah, there is, because I remember years ago reading about another rabbi who came out who said, and he had got a large following, but I can't remember the details or the name. So I assume it's happened a couple of times, certainly in the Jewish thing. And was there 2 popes too at one point? So I mean, there's definitely been schisms in Christianity, but and you've any amount of self-styled gurus who also claim divinity. Wasn't that guy's Sai Baba in India had the most followers? And he said he was he was God and all that. But is that the question you're asking, or? Yeah.
Like okay, they say, okay, well, Jesus wasn't him. Okay, we'll accept he was a prophet, and we kind of messed it up. We shouldn't have killed him. Maybe, maybe. Yeah. Well, it was the Romans. It wasn't us anyway. No, but like, has there been other ones who they've been like, no, it's not him either.
I have to assume.
What's going on there? Like, I don't know. Like,
well, was John the Baptist? He was like, well, he said he was before. Wasn't. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but was he was considered a kind of Messiah figure until he said, no, he's to come. And then in Gnosticism, John the Baptist is elevated to in some sects of Gnosticism. Yeah, he's elevated to the actual real Messiah, and that Christ is the false one. That's So
mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's almost like it's rudderless.
It's almost as if no one really knows,
almost as if no one really fucking knows. I know I don't have a fucking clue. Anyway, come here, we'll talk more about Harper's book, because I've been wanting to bring it up for ages. Demonic Reality. It's fucking really good, isn't it?
It is really good. Yeah.
I don't really know where to start with it, other than, so his idea then, explain to me if I'm right or wrong. His idea then is that everything that we experience, be it fairies, be it aliens, be it HGAs, be it bumps in the night, whatever. Yeah. These are a bit like, say, John Keel's thing of, these are all things on the frequencies that we just can't see. We can, and now and from time to time, they hop in and out of our reality, and we get glimpses of them. Yeah. Because it's not that they're manifestations of our subconscious coming alive or something. It's because that they're already always out there. Yeah. It's just that we interpret them depending on where we are in the timeline of humanity or whatever. And but they do also live in our heads as well. So they live in our heads and they live outside our heads. And it's kind of like we are these radio frequency tuner inners, and we get glimpses of them now and again. But the more we see them, usually the more we have some troubles in our subconscious that are trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
Have I got it right?
Yeah, and it's an extremely Jungian view of the collective unconscious in that sense. And you could put it in the sense of that. So Jung believes in a collective unconscious, and where to start with this. So we have a brain, we have a conscious that we're aware of and we can report on. We can know something about it and explain it. Okay, so I know I'm feeling angry, or I know I'm feeling happy, and I can tell myself. We have a subconscious, which we can infer stuff from but can't directly report on. In that it can be something in there that's affecting how we behave and how we live and who we are as a person, but we can't directly say it is. And within that, he has a thing called complexes, which are semi-autonomous egos that seem to have their own can play out kind of things. So, and within that, and that is the kind of, so there's in a sense, that's also part of the unconscious becomes part of the collective unconscious. So this is what bringing it to Harper's thing, that these things are inside us but also outside. So the collective unconscious is situated here in my hand. Say we have our subconscious, and the collective unconscious can affects the subconscious. So and we can't. So like the archetypes and the diamonds and all that are in there. We can't know what the archetypes are. We can only infer stuff by the images they produce in the subconscious. So you have collective unconscious, subconscious, all going to normal conscious, or as he called it, ego. So that's kind of the inner. But outside, everything outside is also the collective unconscious. So when Harper's it's debatable, I suppose, whether you could make a point that if Jung thinks there's an out there or not. But I assume he does. But that it's still a projection of what the collective unconscious is doing. So so to go back to Harper, you would say that these things. So you would have within the collective unconscious, you have the archetypes. That's the thing. But we're not able to do them only infer through it. We have the diamonds, which are the equivalent of the complexes. So semi-autonomous autonomous beings. So when you have, say, something like fairy, and you're saying, well, how can that be a part of inside you and out there? It's because you have starting from a collective unconscious within your being, coming out through your unconscious, through your ego, into yet again the collective unconscious.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, in a sense, that's a bit kind of hard to get your brain about unless you kind of think of it in a sort of unconscious way, or. So, and the reason then why they appear as different things is because we've changed or whatever, which is the kind of the semi-debate, I suppose, we were having about fairies in Ireland, but why wouldn't you just go back to the two-headed Anon, because that's where the thing has come. And I was like, at the time, because I was reading Harper's going, but because that's how they're showing them to you now. That's how they appear. Yeah. It's like you can come back to a football analogy. You can say that the Busby Babes is the greatest Manchester United team that ever existed, and nothing has ever been great, and everyone should just look at that. Yeah, but on Saturday you can go see the latest team, and you can interact with that, and that's how it's working now. So I think that's kind of his point, and that it's not necessarily his. Yeah,
it reflects kind of the idea of the day. It's that why. Okay, fairies do still appear to some people. But it's usually only people who are like kind of into the folklore stuff. Or
yeah. It's like Darby O'Gill, I suppose. Waits, you see me as you want to see me, and you see me as a rabbit.
Yeah. And like it's why why these grey aliens are around now, so prevalent. Like his idea is that these grey, autonomous, unfeeling beings are being seen so much because they are a reflection of what we see our technology making us into.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and so then
interesting.
And it's like, which is why it's interesting that people have the thought that the Greys are somehow a distant, more evolved version of us, because that's that's the shadow of seeing what technology, caring, unfeeling, but probably more efficient. Kind of. It's like, I suppose, that the Spock Vulcan thing that they seen as to get rid of the emotions.
Germans.
Yeah. What is it?
Germans.
Oh, German. Yeah. I've met Germans with feelings. It's very weird. So yeah, I just thought the Harper's kind of thing. It starts with a very John Keel kind of approach to it, where he's talking about different interactions people have had, and taking it very serious. It's quite anecdotal, which suits John Keel, but for this kind of thing, you have to be But he does bring in various, official documents or more official type people who have had similar experiences, and then kind of maps it through the ages a bit quicker in Daimonic Reality than he does in the Alchemy book, the Fire one, which he really goes through the kind of the golden chain and the whole kind of thing of it. But I just found that it kind of satisfied me, that kind of outlook, in that I could understand it. Again, going back to the Job stuff of Carl Jung, is it true? I don't know. You know what I mean? I really don't need it for it to be true to be useful. And if it's satisfying enough for me that ticks enough boxes. It's like the science thing, and I'm not kind of equating this to science because it's not, but it's like science is kind of about, can we tick enough boxes? Yes. If we find a better theory that ticks more boxes, we'll believe that, or that's what we'll go with for a while. So it's a preliminary blueprint of the universe that is satisfying enough that I can go, right, I can work within this.
But even, Tommy, even if it's something that just gets you thinking a bit differently, do you know, that's still a good thing. Do you know?
Yeah,
And it's not, and I don't mean from like an opposing thing, like say like, me and you would say like Kingsley, where we're like, yeah, it's a good idea, but has faults. Whereas like this is like, okay, just think this way just for a while. Just go with it for a while and see what happens, kind of thing, Yeah. Like Kingsley's a bad example. I don't mean him. It's just
John and Pajo, or someone that you listen to that. I listen to him because I don't agree with an awful lot of things, and he's part of my not trying to not be in an echo chamber and listen to people who don't. Yeah. So I mean, it's that kind of it's different in the sense of that. Part of me wants to believe this is true because that seems to fit. There's a kind of excitement around it. To go, this re-enchants my world, to use that phrase. It really does, because it allows all of it. It's kind of like the global theory that kind of everybody can sit in kind of happily. Yeah.
It's the most terrifying bit of the book, though, and I found it terrifying, is I'm fucking scared I'm going to see something now. I'm really scared. I don't want to see. Okay, I think I've seen some stuff flying around, but I think most of us have seen something flying around that we don't know what it was. So it could be anything, it could be nothing. Whoever's messaging me, could you please fucking stop? I'm on a podcast. Fucking phone is hopping here.
It's the fairies. We're coming for you, Sponge. We're in the technology.
But like, I don't think I'd like, from all the accounts, I don't really want to meet an alien. I mean, if I did meet an alien, I'd be like, right, look, can you give me the cure for cancer? No. All right. Can you give me the cure for my cancer? No. All right. Can you give me Friday's lotto numbers? Yeah, no. Sound.
Yeah. Oh no! All we can give you is a finger up the bum. That's what we do. It's what we do.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and maybe some
it's
sort
Wednesday.
of Maybe some sort of we have some of these Bill Gates microchips that we're going to put in your ankle. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. Yeah, I'll get one of those Palladians to tell you that you're a star child. Yeah,
I would be terrified of seeing. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, the fairies are a bit different for me because, you're brought up in that kind of folklore culture of the fairies are everywhere anyway, and it's just kind of like, be nice to the fairies because they'll fuck you
bad
over.
News,
it depends, but like, if I just know from the stories of growing up, it's not like you're sat down by your parents and you're told, look, right, we need to tell you something, right? You're 13 now. Here's the book about sex and the fairies. If you see sex and fairies, if you see any fairies, be nice to them. You don't get that. It's just that you have so many folklore stories growing up that you just know that, like, be nice.
Yeah. Don't eat the food. Don't eat the food. Don't drink
the food.
Drink
and
the water.
Don't give them food. You're not allowed to give them food on certain nights as well.
Right, okay.
There's mad traditions. Like, some people like leave out food. Like, was it 28? If for 28 days you leave it out, but on a full moon you have to take it back in, because if a fairy asks for food on a full moon, then like you stay the fuck away from that fairy.
Or if you feed them after midnight or get water on them, is that right?
yeah. Just mad. And like, but like I know, like I'd be terrified to see some like go walk in forests a good bit when the weather's good. I'd be terrified if I saw something. Absolutely terrified. I know I'd be terrified. But I got to take solace from the thing of in the book saying, like, you know, it's usually people who have repressed shadow stuff who will see something. So I don't have any of that. Thank fuck. I've gotten rid of all that stuff.
Famous last words.
No, I mean, no, come on. Everyone has shadow stuff kind of stuff. Yeah. I don't mean that. I mean that just there's... Fuck you, Tommy. No one's going to see something. God, Jesus Christ!
And it's going to be it's going to be quite very scary, man. Because you're not expecting it. You don't think it exists.
Fuck! I bet it'll be Mary now or something as well, and then I'll have to become a Catholic again.
It'll be Mary, and she'll go, "I have the fourth secret of Fatima. It's for you, Spud."
Is it Friday's lotto numbers? No. It's like fuck. Why won't anybody give me the lotto number? The amount of angels like ask for lotto numbers,
and you see Mary just putting on the rubber glove. Bill Gates microchip.
Ooh, my second prostate exam this week. Ooh. The thing there is, but you know me, I have to find the fault in everything.
Sledgehammer sludge.
I'm not with him on crop circles at all. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I can't buy it because I remember being a kid. I was 12, 13 years old, and the two lads were on telly, and they were like, "Yeah, look, we started this in the 70s and 80s, and we've been doing it." And like they're old men by then. They were in their 70s or something.
The problem with those two guys is that they couldn't replicate an awful lot of them. That's the only issue. That's where it leaves a doubt for me. In that the ones that when they came out and said we did it, and then they did them, aren't representative of an awful lot of them. They're
I don't know. I mean that's what it says in his book.
Yeah.
But I saw a documentary about one of these fellas, and he goes into a field. All he has is a rope and a 4x2 and a measuring tape. I think that's all he had. 3 things, and he starts tapping out. And you know, by the end of the program, he had made one which was just like the other one. I think he had lived longer than the other fella. The documentary was about him. It's old, in the early 90s. I think this was. So it's like, and then because of what they started, and other people started mimicking it and making it better and all that stuff. And it's kind of like
it's the original memes. I mean, that's what we did before we could send gifts to each other.
But like it's look, when you kind of have to take people at their words, you know. If they come on news or they get a documentary made about them and they says, yeah, look, we started this, we invented this, we didn't know this was all going to happen, but like we just did it for shits and giggles, I have to take him on his word. It's the same as the lads who came up with fucking what's her name, Eris.
Discordianism.
It's the same as that. Like they had no idea this Illuminati stuff was going to get totally out of control, and like people actually believing in it, because they're like, yeah, shits and giggles, let's fucking make up some shit and rattle some cages. But yeah, so that's the one of two problems with the book. The other problem is that his thing that he just doesn't believe in bunny ears evolution. I'm like, sorry, that's like saying you don't believe in gravity. It's like, okay, it's a theory, but like, so is gravity. Yeah, and gravity always wins. Always.
I was quite satisfied with that, because I was going, right, there's the thing. You know the way there's always a thing about someone. Yeah, he's not a racist. He's not, he's not homophobic. He's not any of these things. He just doesn't believe in science. Grand. Happy days. I'll take that. I'll take that. No problem. Yeah.
It's a great book, though. I'm delighted I read it, and I fucking demolished it. Like it's a fun, good read. That'll. I don't know. It's not that it's eye opening in that it's. I don't think there's anything in it that you won't have come across before if you're into all this occult stuff. But it's just that it puts it all together in a nice little package.
Yeah, that's it. It kind of, I don't know. It just kind of, it felt a bit like, I suppose, in some way, like finishing school. You know, you've done all the work. Here's all the different things. Went round got all the different ideas, and then here's the book at the end, which just kind of, and here's how I don't fit together. Nothing new, but here's the little package. Here's how we do it.
I think as well. I think me and you liked it so much because there's so much Irish stuff in it as well. Like, that's obviously going to play a role in us liking stuff.
Although Abraxas, who got me onto the book in the first place, he loved it too as well. So it's I would assume that the Irish thing is just a bonus for us rather than the thing that made us enjoy it, you know.
Ah, yeah, of course. But yeah, the whole fairy thing is after digging more into it. It's not that I was always told, well, not always told. Every day I went to school and everybody told me. Every single teacher sat me down and said, "Spud, this is what happened." No, that isn't what happened. I always thought. I had always. No, I shouldn't even say stuff like that. Not I always thought. I had thought. That's better. Because you sound like a politician if you say I always thought. Bullshit. Like, do you have these actual thoughts all the time? Nonsense. So I used to think
Get the fucking point.
Sorry, I know. I used to think that the Tuatha Danann had evolved into what became fairies and people who lived in the hills and all this kind of stuff, and under the rivers and in the air and all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't turn out that's the case at all. The Tuatha live side by side with the fairies, and they'd call them up every now and again to help in fights and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they if they needed kind of a bit of grunt work done, then there was the fairies. So
all right. So even in the Tuatha Danann days, the fairies were a known quantity.
In some of the stories, yeah,
right,
in some
that's
of the stories,
right.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Here, on the here. Do you want to go into that stuff, the Celtic stuff? Oh, I found some mad stuff.
Yeah. I've been. You come up on my Reddit feed under my friends, and I could see you going into dodgy areas, and people going, "Yeah, stay away from him," and you're going, "Thanks." There's some.
No, it's great. Yeah. Look, there's some communities on Reddit that are great for that. They're just like, no, stay away from him. He's
what's
nonsense.
Pagan Noct or something? Is the stalking.
Pagan Noct is the Pagan Noct is their subreddit. It's based on Irish paganism. So there's Druidry,
but it's a reconstructionism, though, isn't it?
I presume it would have to be.
It has to be, doesn't it? It has to be.
Yeah. So like, there's. I
don't mean that I mean that in a good way. Rather than it sounds like I was kind of poo-pooing. I mean that they're not saying they're an ancient order of druids. That's more what I'm saying. It's like it's proper context is what I was trying to.
Yeah. They're trying to find historical accuracies, kind of thing, you know. So. There's been a good few books and stuff written about the ties between the Celts and the Vedics. So the pre-Hindus, or they are the Hindus, yeah.
So the Aryans, essentially, then the original. Isn't that what they're called?
Yeah, essentially,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there's this belief that the Celts came from the Vedics, and they're kind of Western branch of this early kind of Hinduism, you know?
Okay, right.
And there's tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff where like similar prayers, similar sacrifices, like even, I don't know if you know it, there's when the first Irish, the Milesians they were called, when they first came to Ireland, their druid got off the boat and he says this poem, this prayer, you know?
All right.
And like word for word, it's almost exactly the same as the Sanskrit for the Vedic prayer as well, almost word for word. It's ridiculous. There's so many parallels between the two systems, you know, similar gods, similar words, yada yada yada. Now you have to go back to the I'm not just talking like old Irish, the old Gaelic language in Brittany, Cornish, all these old Celtic kind of languages, Welsh and stuff like that. But the thing is that like after looking a bit more into it, and thanks to those people on that thread, they're like, this guy's talking out of his arse. Go look at this. So
I was reading your thread and going, oh yeah, here I could get into this, and then see the reply with bum.
So it comes. So they actually have a same root. It's not that the Celts come from the Vedics. It's that they both come from the same thing, which was in the center between India and Europe.
Okay.
So they don't have a name other than. People call them the Proto-Indo-European people because no one knows what they call themselves, which is mad.
Okay. Yeah.
But they have there's I'll send you. You can put it up in the show notes if you want to. This guy has written a book about it, and he has traced back to the earlier gods. So the earliest or the head bottle washer was called Deus Peter, right? And
God the Father, I assume, is it?
He's exactly like Dagda. Exactly, he's the horse god, or the All-Father, the horse All-Father god. He's the god of justice. He's the balancer between people.
So like your Odin equivalent.
He's exactly he's exactly who this guy came from, you know. So we can all trace that back to this fella. So like I'm just
so it's just say if I can get it, it's the idea if we were to believe so out of Africa here, and then one goes east, one goes west. What do you say that way? Is that the idea?
Yeah, but not Africa, Europe.
But that's what I'm saying. But I mean,
Proto-Indo-Europeans.
Yeah, but I'm saying like don't reckon we all started, humans started in Africa. That's the
Africa,
bit. So that's mean. So it moved north and then split. Is that the idea, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I presume like the Egyptians wouldn't have anything close to this because it came at a different time. It would have been.
So what era are we talking about?
Egyptians would have been later. So the Celts date back to what, 2000 BC, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Around the time of Buddha, not too long after. Is it 1500 or something like that?
Yeah, it's that axial age kind of era, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but before that, then was these protos. So the protos branched off went left into our part of Europe, went right into India, and then kind of went down south to Turkey and Greece as well. So fascinating stuff, man.
How accepted is that? Like, is that a fringe theory or an actual theory, or what? On the similarities between these two cultures?
I mean, okay. Well, look, you can read the gods, and they're really, really similar. So they are, right? Yeah. Now, I don't know how accepted this is in academia. I have to read more of that. I haven't come across that many books on it, but like so far, it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, no,
and they had this whole thing as well that the Celts did, where there's not that many female goddesses, not that many goddesses, I should say, because they were all kind of seen as ethereal spirits of something. So just like the Celts, so you had the goddess of the river, the goddess of the mountain, the goddess of feeling and all this stuff, whereas the men were the kind of doers. You know, it's that old feminine, masculine, yada yada.
Yeah. Which is very little to do with gender, really, when it comes to it like that. Yeah.
So that was my week of diving into rabbit holes, and they had this thing called Zartus as well. Zartus is this kind of like I suppose a bit like Sheldrick's morphic resonance. There was this how to explain this now so I understand it properly. Just everything's connected. Everything works
like an animism kind of thing.
Yeah. And
Harper also doesn't like animism, if you noticed. He describes it as a theory that its very definition negates the idea it's presenting, or something like that. He's saying like that, and it's kind of. Now, I can understand his point, and I think that's why Gordon might change it, because he's a big animist, Gordon White, and he calls it big table animism, which is he sees as a more refined animism, and I think it's because of the objection.
Well, I mean, he would of course see it that way, because he came up with that idea. Yeah, he is.
because I think that it's a legitimate. Harper's a legitimate point with it. I do think that in that But anyway, that's just while you were talking about animism.
Animism for me is a bit of a tough one as well. It's hard for me to. I understand what it is, but it's hard for me to see us as all being on the same level. Yeah, you know, I just don't think we are. Like, you know, I'm.
Well, it's like come back to the fall thing.
I just think humans are higher up the ladder than a beetle. You know.
Well, at least from our perspective, that's what we could say. But it's also that it's go back to the thing about the fall. We can self-report. We can, thing we can on it. Which even if a spirit of a river is a spirit, can it report to itself? You know, is it aware that it's a spirit of the river, or is it just if you want to go more Sheldrake, is it just a habit? Is it the kind of or the archetypical blueprint of how water works? How it flows, what are the rules, what are things we can infer an archetype of water or spirit of water from how it shows itself, rather than an autonomous being that can self-report and knows it exists.
No, I get you.
Yeah. Maybe it does. I don't know, but I would assume that humans are the only thing that can do that we know of, other than these kind of projections or whatever the fairy are that seem to have a similar thing.
There's supposed to be so many animals can do. There's some advanced monkeys, orangutans can do stuff with this. The birds, the crows and ravens are really smart. They can plan days ahead kind of thing. And if you can plan days ahead...
Funeral. Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? That's a big thing.
Yeah. Like if you can plan
aware of time.
ahead, then I mean, exactly. Then it means you can also look back and you can reflect on. Imagine there's a whole lot of depressed crows now flying around Ireland, just going, look at weather, Brexit. I'm a crow.
One of the things that if you can plan days ahead is you're very close to understanding the nature of sacrifice, in that putting something off in the moment could lead to a better something in the future, and that's a big thing that we think humans kind of only have as well. But I hear that an awful lot, but I also know that squirrels hoard food for the winter. So they're aware of something, so I might go, well, that's an instinct. Well, what a fucking instincts?
But they're quite stupid though, because they hoard so much because they don't remember where they left them. That's why.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But it's still kind of, it's a similar. It's awareness of something other than today. Yeah. Of
course it is. And sure, it's like there's a whole collective unconscious of animals who know that they have to hibernate. Even fucking salmon have it. Fish are thick as shit. Like they know that they have to. They come out, like they're born. They flow down the river or spawn or whatever. Then they get out to the Atlantic and wow, this is deadly. And they meet the turtle from Nemo and I want to be NC.
Hello, John Dory.
John Dory. Hey, John Dory. I've heard about you, man. And then they're off the coast of Canada and they go, shit, I'm supposed to do something. And they just know that they have to go back, find the river in Wexford and go back up to its. How the fuck do they know that? It's crazy.
So weird. It's so weird. Yeah.
I think there's far more to animal consciousness than we know, and probably will know for a long time. But I think it's there. But at the same time, with the whole animism thing, I just think we are kind of top of the food chain.
Yeah. Oh well, below gods, if we were to believe in their existence, which depending on the day is very debatable for me.
Anyway, it's a great book. Read it. Yeah. Find it. Read it.
Are you going to read any of his other books?
I have a list as long as my arm, but when I get through some of them, I will. Yeah.
It's what I would say is they're definitely worth reading, but it's delving a bit deeper into things and a lot covering same ground. So there's an awful lot that you're not going to. It's not new, but neither was Patrick Diamonic Reality.
He's gone the Coldplay / Snow Patrol road, has he?
Oh, just more the same
song. Yeah, more the same.
No, that's unfair because I think whatever book of his you're going to read first is probably going to be the best book of his that you read.
Okay.
That's probably the best way of putting it. Although I haven't read his first one, which is one of
you can't make that argument for Coldplay.
No, you can't. No,
not at all.
I read his fiction book. I finished it.
That'd be weird.
Oh, yeah. No,
sorry, the fiction book. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. Like it's grand. Like I tell you, it's the first fiction book I finished in 5 or 6 years. So what does that tell you? So it was grand enough that I've actually finished it. But like if
I think you should buy more fiction books. That's what it tells me, Tommy.
I just don't have time, or don't like. It feels it's so shit because it feels like I'm. I really should be reading something proper. You know what I mean? That stupid bloody thing that
really
my brain does.
I put it the other way. I think these books are proper and fiction is fodder. But I like fodder. Fodder's great at bedtime because I picked up Lord of the Rings again. I'm just
I'm agreeing with you. When I'm reading fiction, I'm saying I should be reading some. I have that sense. I should be reading something. Yeah. It's good. It's very twee Irish. They love their drink. The Irish love their drink, and they love the fiddles and the bowrons. But I mean, we do.
Much anymore.
Not so much. But I mean, they go to Galway, and I mean that. But would that exist without tourism? I don't know.
Yeah, but are they doing it because they like it, or are they doing it? Yeah,
I know.
Although then again, no. Actually, you know what? In Galway, I think they do genuinely like it. In Kerry, I wouldn't trust the Kerry man as far as I could throw one. They're only doing everything for the money. That's all they do anything for. They even put on the accent. That's not their real accent.
Last week, to change the subject, I went to one of Marco's Rambla Nomicon things that he does on his Patreon, and it was very good because mostly on Wednesday nights, Vanessa does one of her Zoom college things that she does, so I was never able to attend, but I really enjoyed it. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, but he was talking about the Holy Guardian Angel stuff, and I was kind of interacting with him, but he was saying when I make the blog posts about mine experience, whatever it was, and I was was hesitant around it because I didn't know what it was, because it sounded the same as what other people report, but wasn't changing. There wasn't enough of either a momentum or a change or a revelation with it. It didn't change my life in the way it's meant to, but it ticked all the boxes. So he was saying what it actually seems like is more like this called, which is the first thing, the vision of the angel. And I've kind of time gone, okay, fair enough, I'll keep that in mind, but I don't know. So we were just talking a bit more around it. It's the whole talk is... and
so it works like a question and answer, this video.
He's that kind of thing of, right, I have a topic. He was talking about the Talima Holy Week, and he's a couple of things. And then, at the end, you can send in questions ahead if you're not going to be there, or, just in the chat, what's this? So I kind of came around to the Holy Guardian Angel stuff. And we just talked about, and he was kind of going, the thing with the and I was going, when you hear someone say, it's like Duncan talking on your podcast where he's going, gods don't exist, they need us to exist. And I was going, there you go, brilliant. Brilliant. So it was kind of things like that where he's going, the Holy Guardian Angel is the first taste of what how you can experience God. And I was going, wow. That's the first kind of thing that is able to present itself to you, that you're able to, I suppose what the point is to assimilate, but to able to interact with it or whatever. So that and that when you have the full knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel from a Talimic point of view, there is no separation between you and them. And I was like, that's interesting, because most people who have it talk about it in terms of duality of me and them. And he said there's no question of it. When it actually happens, there's no difference. So this thing,
the email that I told you about earlier today had that as well. That's a funny sync. Yeah.
So he was saying, so this vision of the thing is, I'm inferring, didn't say this, but I'm inferring it, that he said is what most people report as the knowledge and conversation of Holy Guardian Angel. He says, but that's okay, because it's, don't make a big deal about it getting to the next thing. That's just the stage. You're at it, you're an adept or adept or whatever you want to pronounce the word. And this is it, so it's good. And he said, so he's saying to me, and I was going, yeah, because I was hesitant about it. And he says, you can't understand. He says, but because I got, the correspondences, I got the name, I got the sigil, got all the things. He goes, yeah, that's not the revelation of the thing. That's how you get then. There's your starter. Here's your course materials. Here's your thing. Now you have to, he says, so do all that thing to get to the things. And kind of talking in broader things, because it's like, it's not even that big of a deal, in the sense, don't put it on a pedestal. Don't think it's like it's a great work, but it's like, it's doable. It's like the Baptist head stuff. If this can be done, then I can do it. It's
getting your driver's license. That's all it is.
That's it. Yeah. No, you have to go and do your thing. So I was going.
Now you need to drive the car and save the money to get the Mercedes.
So that was after I was going. I totally understand what my HGA, whatever's the best word, experience is, and it's definitely that. It's the glimpse. But I thought when he originally said it to me on Twitter, I thought it was kind of diminishing it in a sense, going, that's nothing, don't worry about it. But he wasn't saying that. He said that that's it. That's what it is. But that's great in a sense. That is a big thing, but it's not what you think it is. But I didn't really think it was that, even though, as I said, I'm repeating myself now, it checked every box for anyone who else who talks about it in that way. So I was just like, I came away going, yes, I get it. I understand this now. This is great. And I also have a strategy to what I can do, how I can go forward. So, yeah.
Do you know what that is? Or are you keeping that to yourself?
Well, no, it's not. It's that thing of, I've been given the sigil, I've been given the correspondences, and been given, things. So he's saying, use them, do them, incorporate them. That's the thing so it's not just, so if you get, which I thought, I get the sigil, and I've, drawn it in the air and that called up, and here's the HGA. So that's how you start to develop the relationship. And when it happens, there's no question that it's because you and the angel are the same thing. It's absolutely, there's no division between it, what it is. So I thought that was very interesting. That's
great.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
Yeah. He's funny. He's an odd sort of guy. I really like Mark, and I've had some great chats with him on Twitter. But he's way more adversarial on Twitter, as most people are. So, then like he's a sweetheart.
I'm guilty there, man.
Yeah. But he's a sweetheart, and he's like he's patience of a saint.
Lovely, yeah. So I should have the interview in the next week or two, and it's like. I think I asked 3 questions, and sure, broad sweeping generality here, Marco. you're Italian, you talk a lot.
Yeah.
Great. I don't think we even did any HGA stuff, to be honest. We was just all telema and what's happening with this. Even the manifesto stuff was like the very last 1 or 2 questions. Most of it was just about what is it and where it comes from and all the OTO stuff. And it was basically me just saying, look, I have questions and tell me, and that was it. Okay, it's an interview, but it was just like, it was quite personal, to be honest. It was just like, okay, look, I need to know this, I need to know that kind of stuff. But it's very insightful, and it comes. It's kind of like, but I said this to you before, and I think Telem is a great system, brilliant.
Yeah.
But like, I've no fucking interest in joining something that is like a guru teacher relationship would be cool, but I've no interest in like, you have to read these 10 Crowley books and then I'm going to examine you on it. I'm 40 fucking years of age, okay? I'm not going to school. That day is gone, all right? Yeah. I'll watch your lectures, but I'm not being examined on it, all right? Yeah. Look, because I'm the type of person that if I'm having trouble with something, I'll question you anyway, and I'll come to you looking for advice because you're the guru. I need your help. I'm not just going to tick the box and say, I listen to it. Because it's, I'm fooling my guru. Who gives a shit? You're fooling yourself.
Yeah, and it's essentially collecting scout badges too. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, it's LARPing, totally LARPing. And I've no...
I will put in one counter to that, in that doing those type of things is a good way of situating yourself on the map or the hierarchy, in that way you know where you are and know what you have to do. Yeah. So look, I understand that.
I'm not saying not to do them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I mean, it's this old Masonic setup from 150 years ago. It's just the 21st century. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I assume Marco agrees mostly with that, because he did.
Says
the OTO is a cult. Well, his experience. And, other opinions are available. And
look, I won't spoil it, but we did. Yeah, we agreed on stuff like that, saying it's archaic the way it's run and stuff like that, But
have you been following the discussion in the Discord on do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and who the thou is referring to in that?
Oh no, absolutely not. I just do not want to listen to Crowleyites arguing.
Well, you see, it's not. It's Marco is in, so that's why I thought you might find it interesting. In kind of people there's a whole section. If you don't want it, don't. But whatever, it's in that the thou isn't referring to you. That's the clue that I'll give you, and you can go and investigate.
Oh, so it's the HGA, like it's
divinity, It's in a sense of that kind of Christian thing of not my will but your will. It's that, and we kind of have that kind of sense of that. The emphasis is always on the will, and you miss the bit. It's so what is will? Oh, it's not just what I want to do; it's what I'm here to do. No. You're missing the important word, the kind of context of where that is. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, that's the thing about it, is that it's the surrendering to this thing that you're a part of, it's not you, and let that take control and drive the car. Do like the email I was telling you about before recording, like he was saying that there's one bit left for me that I'm
missing.
There's still some duality there, and he noticed it. And so then just doing some stuff, researchy stuff on what meditations to do best to get that down a bit. And it's basically just evoking her a lot more, because I don't really. I'm just kind of like, you're cool. Let's do some tarot.
Well, I mean, the Crowley thing is to evoke often. That's.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just afraid to disappoint her. She's a fucking Roman goddess, man. The fuck?
She presents herself. She presents herself as a Roman goddess. Yeah,
don't want to let you down.
Fucking. Yeah, but it also means if there is ultimately no duality, that you are also a Roman goddess. So I mean, that has
exactly, Tommy. There you are. Here, I'll give you a funny sync with her and me. So the Roman goddess Minerva is she is the patron of musicians. She apparently invented the flute, right?
Oh, I think Pan would have an issue with that, but go
on. But she didn't like the way it played, because she's humble and pious and all these things, and she didn't like the way that it made her cheeks puff out. So she threw it away, and some musicians took it up. when I was 8, I was sent for flute lessons.
Right.
And I went, nope, not doing that. Just turned around and said, no, I'm not doing it. That was it.
Right.
That's weird.
I
Isn't
thought
that weird?
It's weird, but I thought you were going to go. And on the way home, I found a flute in a tree.
No. I went in, first day flute lesson. I was given it and I went, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it makes my cheeks look weird.
Yeah. Fucking weird, huh?
Yeah, it's so weird because I mean, flute's not like really a music lesson thing that we do in Ireland that much. Like, I mean, it's like not something. You go guitar, you go to drums, you go to violin.
My ma's a big fan of James Galway, and I was, Jesus, God, it was embarrassing. Flute lessons. No. Give me a guitar, will you?
No, but the worst thing is probably, wouldn't it be grand to be able to play flute now, though? Like, wouldn't it be, just, I can play, like Anchorman, jazz flute.
That's not cool. Jazz flutes, the jazz isn't cool, man. What are you doing? Well, we're too old to be cool. No, guitars. Although, you know what? I've been looking on websites at fucking Irish harps, man. They are, I'd like a harp. How cool would a harp be?
Pint of harp.
Yeah. Come on, let's do this film because we're rambling now.
Call of the Forest. Not what it was called.
The Call of the Forest. Yeah.
Yeah. My massive problem with this, and it's a good documentary. The thing is that the whole time it's going, yeah, I agree with all of this. Just let me into a forest, please. Open them up again. Because I was sitting there seething, going, yeah, this is awesome. I'd love to be in a fucking forest. Yeah. So I started getting annoyed at the Irish American one. I was going, fucking, yeah. Anyway, that's just my preamble. That it annoyed me for all the reasons that it's I believed all of it and I couldn't do it. There is that whole idea of it, I suppose. Have you an introduction, or will I just yap at what it is?
Go for it. No, I don't.
The kind of idea is that that we the humans are bad and forests are good. That's kind of the undercurrent of it, and that we've lost. It's that whole thing. If we've lost our sense with,
I would just like to say I will sign up for that newsletter, Tommy.
Right, okay, yeah. Humans are bad, forests are good. That's a T-shirt, and that we've kind of lost our connection with the forest and how much it was part of our culture and how we from our medicine to our mental health to our thing, and how that we're going to lose that. But also to some things. Well, here's how we can combat that, so which is great because it wasn't just we're fucked, it's over. It's like, no, we have a plan, we can do this. You can do something, you can plant a tree. It's mad. Have you tried planting a tree? And then just talked about it, particularly the forest bathing thing, which we make kind of fun of here because I'm a level 3 forest bather. But I think I've lost. I've lost my license recently. The way a pilot has to fly so many hours a month to keep his license. I haven't been in a forest, so I think I'm a level 2 probably forest bather now. All
right, I'm a degree 806
right.
of the Telemite forest bathers. So no, I haven't told that to anyone. That's a secret, so don't tell anyone.
Right. They're going to take away your card now, your membership card for public. But so it's I didn't know it was a Japanese thing, this forest bathing originally. I assume it's not really a Japanese thing because I assume everyone went to forests for the reasons that are plentiful in the documentary. It's just Japanese had a name for it possibly, and I get a couple of interviews with the different Japanese guys. But I'm just kind of, I suppose. I could then at the end they were all happy, but well, the way I loved the way she talked, and every now and again she would go, speaking as a biologist, I think forests are amazing. They're a miracle. And it just reminded me of people who go like, speaking as a parent.
Speaking as a parent. Speaking as a woman. Wait, no. So 5 minutes ago, who were you speaking as? What's going on, like?
Are you only a biologist now? Like so.
Yeah. Speaking as a chef, well, you mean you're holding the food and you're going to cook raw chicken? Oh, you're a fucking chef. What are you?
Coal miner? Just for a minute, I'll speak as a podcaster, and just for this minute, though. But I just laughed. I thought that was so funny because she says it at least 3 times in the documentary. Yeah. Speaking as a biologist. And you're interviewing your woman with the baby. Oh, you're just amazing. And she goes, yeah, because I'm holding the baby for the camera for this interview because it looks good. I wasn't doing it when I was excavating. Can you imagine? Or with the baby.
Pulling trees out of a river. Right, yeah, that's great. I loved it. And I was the same as you. Like watching it, I was just like, I cannot wait to go to a forest again. And we couldn't go this week because the weather was so bad. We've only gone once or twice this year. But the weather, this winter just won't fucking end in Poland. Hopefully it's going to end now soon. I don't know what to say about how good this was. I just loved every fucking minute of it. Do you know? It's just great, and it's well, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's me and you were into forests and trees,
but that's it. Kind
mushrooms and shit. Anyway, so it's right up our alley.
Like it's a bit like daimonic reality. There's nothing in it that I didn't know. In the sense, like, I saw a couple of things here and there, like stats and the Japanese stuff. I didn't like actually know like the thing, but I could, certainly had a sense of it. So I was kind of going, yeah, no, I agree with all this. This is good news. This is. I mean, is some people who don't like walking in forests? There has to be, doesn't it? Like, I mean.
Oh yeah, of course. Sure, most people live in cities, man. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but they're not. But they're not. They all sit like even in Dublin. They all go to what's the park? Jesus, my brain.
Park Stephen's Green.
Stephen's Green. Yeah, like like there's
the big one, Phoenix Park.
Yeah, but there's still, Phoenix Park's lovely. It's so open, but it's there's still a calling for it. Like when you go for lunch, there's a thing. Oh, let's go to St. Stephen's or Stephen's Green. Thing. Like there's still that kind of need.
Yeah.
Although I suppose some people go to have that towards pubs too, so it's not it's not a universal.
I liked what they do in Japan with they call them the urban forests, and I thought that was cool. So anywhere where there's like just a bit of nothing, a patch between two blocks of flats or something, they're like, right, let's put some trees there.
Yeah,
like that's great, and it should be done more and more and more. I wonder why it's not done on. You can see some countries have done it on the rooftops of blocks, and I presume it's not done more just for structural.
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? Because I mean, that would be very heavy. That would eventually get very heavy.
Yeah.
Well, although there has to be, I'm sure there's light trees, like grow bushes or something.
I don't know if you just put a whole lot of shrubs up there, but like how would it be tended? And like, I mean. It's one of those things where it's that like we're like it's so obvious that we should be doing it that there must be a good reason why we're not doing it, unless there isn't a good reason why we're not doing it. And then we should be doing it.
Yeah, we should be doing it.
There's a good bit. There was a good bit in it when comes to the end, the conclusion of it, and she's like, "Look, this is like we can fix this. Like we can fix this. All we need is that if every person plants one tree for 6 years." And Aga looked at me and she's like, "You gonna do it?" I said, planted 6 trees already this year. What the fuck are you on about? That's ridiculous. Yeah. Come on. But like that's so simple. Like it's just we can fix all this if it's just one tree. And like I really like the idea of doing like guerrilla gardening. You know this?
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, the public kind of space that'll be left kind of.
Yeah, so guerrilla gardening is getting you and a group of your mates and just going somewhere that's public and just planting a lot of shit just for the crack. But like, I love the idea. And
they do that in like there's people do that nowadays, like that where I live. That like even on our lane, there's a woman who does that. She's just taken over. Yeah. She's made a lovely little kind of park. It's not a park, it's an area, a lovely little area that she was telling me there actually last week, which is people used to just come down and dump the rubbish in because it was it's down a cul-de-sac, and so she just says, well, I'm going to make something a bit nicer so people don't do it. And she's out there all the time. Great.
Good.
Fair juice.
This is great, yeah. I mean, I like that there was like the stuff about Ireland was like I knew about it, but I didn't know that nothing is being done kind of thing. So like, warning, and English people, there's going to be some anti-English stuff here. And this is from her mouth, not only mine.
Speaking as an Irish person.
Speaking as an Irish biologist. So basically, the English took over. And she's like, and then the voiceover comes on. Yeah. Thanks to 500 years of occupation. Basically, the trees were all cut down to be used for the ships of the British Army. It doesn't go into that, but that's why they were all cut down. But they weren't replaced, which is so bizarre because like...
Well, they were replaced with the wrong trees though, weren't they? Like they were replaced with fast-growing lumber type trees rather than the indigenous type.
But that's a new thing.
All right, okay.
That's only in the last 50 years or even less. Okay. Like, but I mean, like when the English came in the 1700s and cut down forests, they weren't like, oh, by gee, I think we should grow some more trees here. So in 50 years' time, we can cut them again. Ha ha! Shut up, Paddy! Ha ha ha! No, but there should have been that because like you see that here, and my mate the forester, he was telling me here like it's been going on for a long time that like since every time a tree is cut down, at least one is put back, and it's more now. But the problem was that back 30, 40, 50 years ago, they were just cutting down the wrong trees.
Right, okay.
And
the mother trees that they talk about in the documentary.
Yeah,
is it?
and they weren't cutting down enough of like the diseased and the sick ones. They just kind of let them down, let them rot, rather than getting rid of them and opening up the ground. But like Ireland's problem now is that they're just putting in the wrong trees. So they're putting in spruce and fir trees from Scandinavia and Canada, which aren't native. And this isn't to get on nationalist on it. It's just that the ground in Ireland is better for hardwoods than these fast-growing semi-hard softwoods. So, but like what I found kind of disheartening is that like, so Ireland has only 3% of the country's under forest now. And we're comparing it to Germany. Germany's about 30%. Poland is the same. Poland's about 35% as well, which is really good.
We used to be mostly forest, though, didn't we, at one point?
Ireland was the name Hibernia that the Romans gave us. It means forest land.
Right,
you know? And like, what's bizarre is that, like, you know yourself, like, you drive around Ireland, Kerry, Galway, Mayo, Wicklow. Well, Wicklow's not a good example. And you see all these hills and mountains, and they're green and they're gorgeous. But it's like, why is there no trees? Just plant some fucking trees, like, you know, because it's land that isn't used.
But is it sheep grazing though? Is that why there isn't? If they've been cut, or why?
Well, not on all of them. I mean,
no, but because I'm trying to work at the mountains around where I live. Some of them are beautifully forested, but some of them, like an awful lot of them, aren't. And I'm just wondering, is it where to cut down, or is it just, you know, have like trees would naturally grow there? I don't know. Like,
of course they would. Yeah. Trees will grow anywhere, sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, is it just that no one ever put them there? But like, that's stupid.
They weren't put back.
Yeah.
They weren't put back.
Right.
That's what it was. And it's like all this land. So like, all of the like, I don't understand why all of like the national parks and the mountains that are open to the public and aren't farmland, like, why aren't they just seeded with ash and oak and whatever? Do you know? Because
I wonder what the answer is. Is it just laziness and money? Because I can't imagine it's that expensive. Remember, everyone got a tree a couple of years ago for the millennium. Every family.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's obviously. Well, I have a certificate on my fridge that I can go and visit my tree.
Yeah.
Well, that I can't go and visit my fridge because it's a fridge. I can't visit my tree because it's more than 5 kilometres away. Fuck's sake. Yeah. So I mean, there's obviously has been some initiatives around it. You know, where they were doing that, but like, I don't know. I remember with the climate change thing, and remember saying the trees or the oxygen and stuff like that, we need to plant trees. I remember then there was not a backlash, but there was kind of a thing where it's going, no, well, most of our oxygen actually comes from the sea and plant life, and so it's, you know, that's more important to stop dumping shit into the sea. Yeah. Like, but you know, surely tree, but it's as well. My brain is just jumping all over the place. Well, to see the evidence coming out now that the Amazon forest is man-made, or at least parts of it has it, you know, at some stage that there's not.
You didn't watch the thing I sent you, did you? There's a thing on Netflix called Connected.
I haven't not yet.
Episode 3 or episode 4. Oh Jesus, what's it called? I think it's called Dust, and it's about the link between the dried up part of, I think, Chad in Africa, and that's all desert now. It was this huge lake thousands of years ago, and the link between that and its dust and the Amazon, and it's fucking mind blowing. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind blowing, and that like without this dust, there would be no
Amazon. Wow.
And so that also means then that before this river in our lake dried up in Africa, it wasn't there. And the scientist, there's this German scientist there who lives up a tower, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, you see, he's basically says that because of the rains, the hummus.
You're going to start singing Toto. I see the rains down and up. We're going to get demonetized.
So the rains wash away so much of the nutrients every year in the Amazon, but this dust comes along and it's exactly how much it needs.
Oh, right.
Boom, like what the fuck? So like the Amazon wouldn't be there only for this dust, and the dust is only it's almost like it knew it had to do it.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's what? It's just like it's crazy. Oh no, the one I was telling you was called Digits. That's about this theory of that's bizarre. But anyway, back to this thing. Yeah, but like, there's so much of this as well. How like the trees along the coastlines are so important to the fish anyway. So like, okay, most of our oxygen comes from the water, but we need the trees and the rain to push the nitrogen and the phosphorus and all these things into the ocean, so that the tiny little things can eat stuff, so the bigger things can eat stuff, so that they can fart and make oxygens. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, it's something. It's definitely to do with farts, anyway. Yeah. My only kind of reservation about the whole documentary is that, well, I mean, it's the thing that humans are bad, nature's good. It kind of has that thing that science does, in that it separates humans from nature, which of course we're not, because we are nature. And I understand the point why they're doing, because like we literally are fucking up here. But it's kind of as if there is this kind of, and it's a really interesting thing that it's been talked about in what books? I'm reading so many books, I don't know which book it is. It's one of them, where it talks about, I think it's Harper, where he's talking about that how science, even the way it talks about nature, has kind of a nomenclature or vocabulary of rape, that it's like attacking Mother Nature, or it's taking this, it has this overall, and he makes a much better case from it than what my brain can do at the minute. But and when you see it, you go, that's bizarre, but it's this kind of separation where we've kind of pulled ourselves out as we have nature, and then we have us as, some sort of rational being that's separate from the entire thing. And it's kind of like going, that there is an element of that in this documentary, and I'm okay with it in this because I know the point that's been making. But I think in a bigger point, we have to still, because if you separate humans from nature, then it's in a sense okay to destroy nature, or it's, it has we need to return to see ourselves as part of nature, I think, in order so that we can stop doing what we're doing. Yeah. And the separation is the thing is causing, and
that's basically what all of these this second axial age thinkers, that's basically what all of them think.
All right, well, great minds.
Tommy the Oracle.
But I mean, it's I suppose it's bringing it back. It's the shadow thing. I mean, like you separate yourself from the thing, from the thing that you're meant to doing, and you blame all of these things. And you can see it playing out very obviously in my hand signals for this audio-only podcast. But it's fascinating. But what I loved about the documentary is that this is shitty. But we can do something. It's not. It's
we can fix it.
Yeah, and it's maybe. The documentary is a couple of years old. Maybe it has changed dramatically since then, and we are fucked. But still plant a tree. No, and the trees are lovely. Like, why wouldn't you want more trees?
If all it takes is one person to plant 6 trees over 6 years, Jesus Christ, we can all do that. You know what I mean? It's very simple. And I don't have a garden. So. Yeah. Go to a garden centre and put a bonsai in your window. Okay, don't buy the bonsai.
Or plant some.
Email me. I'll tell you how to make a bonsai. It's fucking easy.
Plant some trees somewhere else. If you don't have a garden,
go to a park.
Plenty of places.
Buy a spade and go to a park. And if anyone gives out to you, just be like, plant a tree, man. Yeah. How can you give out? How can you complain to me?
Just wear an luminous jacket and no one will come near you. The work jacket. It's absolutely.
It says wizard on the back.
Yeah. You get away with so much thing. Like, I mean, I definitely think you could. You don't think. Would you steal a car? Would you? Yeah. Well, I have a luminous jacket on. I can do whatever I want. No one's going to question it. I'm official. I work for the council. But you'd also need one person beside you, from the. If you're going to pretend you're the council, who's just looking at you doing the work. So that's where the key would come in.
A clipboard or something like that. Or taking
looking, smoking.
What was it? There's a couple of funny bits in it. One thing I'll give out about, she says that, going back to the Irish stuff, she says that Ohms she said the trees were the basis for the Ogham language. That's thanks to Robert. They were the newspaper. That's mad. That's thanks to a chap called Robert Graves, who
is that the White Goddess? Is it? Is that the White Goddess? He's got most things wrong, didn't he?
Look, he did his best. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he did. He's not. It's not that he just willy nilly made shit up. Do you know, he did his best.
I've heard people who think he did.
I'm only going on the Ogham here. I don't know the Goddess book. Yeah. I'm not going to read a book called the fucking White Goddess. Jesus Christ Almighty! A pile of that sounds awful. Anyway. Yeah. There are people in that fucking Druid group who swear by that book, and I'm just oh God, you people are Anyway,
that book changed people's lives, man. It changed people's lives.
God, no.
Anyway, Robert Graves.
So wrong. So wrong. Anyway, so his Ogham stuff, yeah, look, he tried his best. He got plenty of stuff wrong. And like, I'm not a researcher on the Ogham. I only know from other people who have researched his stuff and gone back into the source books. Because, for example, one of the letters, and I don't remember which one of the letters translates as, oh God, what's the name of it now? Do you know in the Witcher game when you buy a bit of metal, what's that called? Inglot, isn't it?
Yeah. Inglot.
So
INGLOT. Yeah.
One of them translates as that.
Oh, right, okay. So it's
as a metal inglot.
Yeah,
so they're not these letters don't all correspond to
with trees.
To trees. And then there's actually other Ohms as well. There's like a poet's Ohm, there's the worker's Ohm, and then there's the normal Ohm. So there's a few different ones. It's mad. Like the more you get into it, the more you're like, holy shit, this is really difficult. But anyway, so she makes that little mistake. But most people who get into Ohm just think that he knew his stuff, okay, and be careful with it because he didn't. He did, but he got plenty wrong. Do you know?
Same with the runes. Like the you know, there's so much inference that's been taken down as facts by subsequent people that you know it's hard to, and you know it's in one sense it's kind of well that's okay, you know, because I mean it's all reconstruction or whatever. But it's I don't know. I can see both sides where you can kind of go, well, it works, so that's fine.
See both sides, but
at the same time, let's try to find out the real thing.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like, okay, well, if the source material is available to us and we can look at that, I think that's what we should look at, and not what was written by some foreigner who has appropriated it, you know. And that's not to be nationalistic about it. It's just to be like, no, like the source books are there, like you know, we just.
Speaking as an Irish person, I would
who left Ireland in its dire time of fucking need. You coward.
Speaking as an expat with
oh, Jesus. The other thing that's funny is her husband is Herman Kroger, whose father was part of the NASA program to put people on space, and he came from Germany.
Oh, yeah.
And he found himself.
There was a lot of paper clips just lying about for some reason. I don't know why. And then someone kept going, Operation Paperclip. Yeah. Are you saying her father was a Nazi? Is that why you're scared?
I'm not saying her father. I'm not saying her father at all. I'm not saying her father. Maybe her father-in-law.
Oh, father-in-law. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Which
there was a thing my father-in-law always used to say was that when astronauts went to space and then came back,
he hated the Jews. Was that it? Was that what he said? Was that what he said, Diane? Was that what he said?
And he used to always say Heil Hitler. And it was so, speaking as a biologist, speaking as a Nazi, when the astronauts came back from space.
But he did tell them that when the astronauts came back from space, they all had this profound epiphanies up there of seeing the world differently. And
that's Edgar Mitchell's quote, not one's father-in-law.
Exactly. Yeah. So like her Nazi father knew, her Nazi father-in-law knew Edgar Mitchell. Yeah. That's what I got from the documentary. We're horrible bastards, aren't we? We should have stopped this podcast 10 minutes ago when everything was all.
Just go to a forest.
Nice
it's lovely.
And now we just got into like, Irish nationalism and Nazis, and it's just dig up, Spud.
That's the internet for you. That's just how it goes.
As above, so below. We are below. That's what we are. We're not above. We're not above being below, basically.
Bye. Nice.